going to show you a foam rolling and stretching routine that I'm basically going to be doing before I go for a little run. I know that my calves are tight, so I'm going to start there. Basically find a spot, and then I'm not going to oscillate or anything like that. I'm just going to stay still, kind of count out 30 breaths. I watch these mosquitoes out here. And ants. Okay, other side. Count for 30 breaths. They're all over the place. Don't really feel too much in my calves today. I don't feel too bad. Then again, I haven't been running. Definitely have to make this quick because of the bugs. Still good for the foam roller, but not good for getting bit. Next, after the calves, I'm going to hit the hamstrings for a second. I like doing it this way. And then kind of rolling more medially. Trying to wait until I feel the tension dissolve. Trying to breathe into the muscle. And just let myself sink down into the roller. Not tensing any muscles up. Alright. Other side. Ooh. Kind of rolled over a little something there, so kind of try to back up and get right on top of it. And then sit there. Breathing really softly in and out through the nose. Also practicing that lateral breathing. Next, we're going to get at the TFL. So we're going to start on our side in the area in between the pelvis and hip, and then roll slowly towards the front. And it's a really subtle feeling, but you'll feel a little tightness there if you are tight on the front side of your body like me. Make sure you still got some tone in the abdominals, so you know you're still kind of pulling those front hip points up to meet the ribs. You're not necessarily letting the abs go, but you're letting your hips kind of sink right down into the mat or into the roller. Body's feeling really heavy. All right, now from there we'll roll just a little forward, and about 4 inches. About 4 inches down, you're going to feel that rectus femoris, kind of the top of the quad there. It's usually a nasty spot. 30 seconds there. Just staying nice and still. Imagining that you're breathing right into that muscle that has that tension. Alright, and then maybe kind of rolling a little bit more towards the knee and then back up towards the hip to try to get at that vastus lateralis. More of the front quad there, that larger muscle. And then just sit still, 30 breaths here. nice and soft. I like this kind of corrective work for myself before any type of activity or exercise, whether it's lifting, running, biking. I think that it's smart to kind of get the muscle tissue lengths even before you work out, and then after the workout, getting them back to that correct muscle tissue length. All right, and then from there we're gonna roll a little bit this way to get the adductors, but we're gonna try to get them up high. I'm gonna go all the way to the inside of my hip, and then I'm gonna start going down. I'm gonna try to find the spot as high as possible. And this can be a really tender spot. But you've got to sit still there so we can let that autogenic inhibition kind of take place, where it stimulates something called the Golgi tendon organ, and that's where you get that muscle tension to really release and the muscle to truly lengthen. You need less than 30 seconds, and that's not going to happen. Sometimes as the adductor kind of releases, I feel my knee try to bend like it just did. And now we'll go to the other side. So we'll go ahead and go into that area in between the hip and pelvis, and then we'll rotate towards the front slowly till we find a spot that feels kind of nasty. And then just feel heavy down into the roller. Keep a little bit of tension in the abs. Just a little. All right. About 4 inches up, find that rectus femoris. It's not very difficult to find. So for someone like me whose knees tend to drift inwards, I don't need to roll my IT band. That's only gonna make the IT band looser, which means it would cause my knee to be able to cave in even more. So I need the IT band to be tight, so I'm not gonna roll the outsides of my legs. I'm only rolling the front sides and the insides of my legs, barely touching the back, just as we hit the upper part of the hamstrings in the beginning. And that's just because that's just a typical spot for a runner like myself to just have muscle tightness. And because it could also be contributing to the knees going inward. It could be something pulling there. So I kind of just do a touch of the backside. I'm definitely not going to touch my glutes with the roller or my IT band or my upper back. I'm also next going to be getting at the lats and the chest. I'm not going to roll my upper back because I want my back to be tight, a little tighter, so it can pull my shoulders back. Good running posture is going to be definitely a nice open chest. So if the chest is tight, it's going to pull those shoulders in, and it's going to mean that you've got, you know, those long muscles in the upper back. So the mid to upper trapezius and all of that needs to be tightened and strengthened, not rolled in my case. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit down and then back up towards my hip. See if I can get that vastus lateralis, or a nasty spot there. these bugs. I'm gonna go to the adductor, try to go up real high, and then go ahead and try to find a spot. Relax the leg. Got one right here, so I'm not gonna shift around, I'm just gonna stay put. And count out those nice, gentle, soft 30 breaths. In and out through my nose. Pull the abs up to the spine a little bit. Feel heavy down into the roller. Just kind of allow your body to melt down. We'll hit the pecs and the lats. So for the pecs, I'm basically going to go in my armpit and I'm going to roll to the front and I'm going to pull my hips up and everything and just really sink down. And then I'm going to roll towards my wrist. And usually that's when I'll find a spot. Now if you're really tight here, you're gonna feel it immediately. But I've been doing this routine for a while, so I've worked out a lot of the kinks in those initial areas. If you're doing this on grass like me, you're able to really see some of these bugs up close and personal. Alright, and then I'm going to roll basically on my side here, and I am going to try to find a spot on my lat. My legs might be a little funky again just because I'm on this grass and I'm just trying to avoid these bugs touching me. There we go, got a spot right there. I don't mind this top arm kind of coming up. You know, again, I'm bringing the hips up. The more I bring my hips up, the more weight I can just dump down into the roller. And as I kind of rotate my left shoulder up a little bit, I'm on a nice spot right now. Now when I say nice, I mean it's a bad spot, but it needs to be, it's a spot that needs work. And as I sit here, I definitely feel the tension kind of melting away. It feels nice. I mean, it's definitely leaving the area. So again, this upper hand might be behind the head, or it could just be kind of up like this. Alright. Oh, that's a great spot. Other side. So we'll get the chest, hips up, and then kind of rolling slightly towards the wrist. Alright, and then getting lateral, trying to find a spot. And then just kind of sitting there. Let's see. There we go. So kind of generally as I kind of start to find a spot, and then as I rotate my gaze up towards the sky, that's when I generally will find a pretty rough area along the lat, which is just an enormous muscle along the sides of our bodies that when it's tight, it can even contribute to, you know, having difficulty getting into a squat position. Not even with weight, just imagine actually trying to lift and do some strength work with a squat, but you know, again, weight or without weight, we've got to be able to do a squat with correct form without weight first. And the lats being tight can be a contributing factor to not really being able to get into proper position. It can cause the body to fall forward when, you know, we've really got to be able to, you know, have the kinetic chain, and when you're in a squat, you really need to have the entire kinetic chain kind of stacked. And tight lats really don't make it easy to make that happen. Oh man, that's tight. But it's getting better, and that's pretty good. Now what we'll do is we'll actually do some stretching immediately after. So we'll get into the calves first. 30 seconds here. I'm really pulling my toes up and pushing my heels down. My fingers are spread, and I'm really pushing my fingers into the ground, not just pressing with the wrists. I'm really pushing my fingers down too. All right, other side. And I do feel that putting the opposite foot, the non-working foot on kind of on the heel, pressing down, I feel like that does help. Your shoulders should be away from your ears, so don't get caught doing something like that. Make sure that you have some space there. Pull those toes up, reach the heel back and down. Push the chest down and the hips up. All right, we'll come right into this next one. Back foot should be down, laces down. And we're gonna get the hip flexor complex here. Again, 30 breaths. Really trying to pull my chest up, so I'm not just compressing the low back. I'm really creating some length in my spine, as if someone's got a hook and they're just pulling me up from the sternum. And then I also like this one for the lats, so I'll stay in the same position, and then I'll try to look up towards the sky. Trying to get this right hip to pull back, this femur to pull back into the hip socket, and this left hip to kind of come down towards the floor. Trying to create an arc here. Really pull those ribs out. And pulling the right hip forward this time, the left femur coming back into the socket, and then pulling the heart up. Side reach. Great. I like this one also for the calves. It's where I kind of like invert the back foot just a little bit. Same deal, I'm pulling my opposite hip, so in this case my right hip back, and I'm letting my left hip kind of come down, pulling it down. My toes up and switch. So again, kind of slightly inverting the foot. I definitely don't mind double doing the calves, considering kind of a big issue for me. And then for the pecs, should be at 90 degrees. I'm just gonna kind of lean forward. You could also depress the scapula, so you could try to pull the scapula down. I'm actually contracting my scapula here. Other side. Watch out for ants. There's just bugs all over this place. Okay, and then next, gotta try to get this one. I love this one. This one's really for that TFL. So I'm putting the outer foot closest to the wall. The other foot can just really be anywhere. And then I'm gonna slightly bend that outside foot. I'm going to slightly bend that knee, and I'm going to try to look under my armpit. Pulling the tailbone under. Pretty tough to do, but important in getting the muscle to completely lengthen there. We're also obviously getting into the lat. So again, pulling that tailbone under is going to help to give you a better stretch. Other side. One more we can do on the wall is this one, which kind of gets a few different areas at the same time. It's kind of where you come into a super long lunge, and then you can either have the back leg straight or you can slightly bend it, and then I'm reaching over here, really creating a rainbow shape here to get the lat, and then also the hip flexor complex, including the psoas. And at the same time, again, I'm doing the same thing where I'm pulling my left hip back, my right hip down, keeping this tight. So I'm still kind of pulling my front hip bones here up to meet the ribs. Pulling the tailbone under. Other side. Pulling that tailbone under. Yeah, it's really a great one for the lats. And now I'll go for a jog. So let me know how you like this. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.